A healthier relationship with food does not begin with punishment. It does not begin with shame. It does not begin with hating the body, fearing every craving, or turning every meal into a test of discipline. It begins with awareness, because the way we eat is rarely just about food. It is connected to stress, emotion, habit, memory, comfort, culture, routine, loneliness, reward, and the pace of modern life. This is why building a healthier relationship with food is not only about asking, "What should I eat?" It is also about asking, "Why do I eat the way I eat? What am I feeling when I reach for food? What patterns have I learned? What role does food play in my daily life? And how can I nourish myself without using food as punishment, escape, or emotional survival?" This is the final episode of The Psychology of Food. Throughout this series, we have looked at why we eat more than hunger, how food and emotion are connected, why cravings feel powerful, and how modern life has changed the way we eat. Now we bring it all together. The goal is not perfection. The goal is a healthier, calmer, more conscious relationship with food. One of the first steps is to remove shame from the conversation. Many people do not simply struggle with food. They struggle with guilt about food. They eat something and immediately judge themselves. They crave something and call themselves weak. They overeat and decide they have failed. They compare themselves to others and feel discouraged. But shame rarely creates lasting health. Shame may force temporary control, but it often creates a cycle. Restriction, craving, overeating, guilt, more restriction, more craving. The person becomes trapped between harsh control and emotional rebellion. A healthier relationship with food requires a different approach. Not, "I am bad because I ate this," but, "What was happening in me when I reached for this?" Not, "I have no discipline," but, "What pattern is showing up here?" Not, "I ruined everything," but, "What can I learn from this moment?" This shift matters because awareness gives us information. Shame only gives us pain. Another important step is learning to distinguish physical hunger from emotional hunger. Physical hunger usually builds gradually. It is connected to the body's need for nourishment. It can often be satisfied by different kinds of food. Emotional hunger may come suddenly. It may want something specific. It may appear after stress, loneliness, boredom, sadness, fatigue, or conflict. It may feel urgent, and even after eating, the emotional need may remain. This does not mean emotional eating makes someone bad. It means food has become one way of responding to inner discomfort. The question is not, "How do I never emotionally eat again?" That may not be realistic. The better question is, can I notice when I am eating from emotion? Can I pause long enough to ask what I truly need? Sometimes the answer may still be food, a warm meal, a comforting dish, a shared table, a simple pleasure. There is nothing wrong with enjoying food, but sometimes the answer may be rest, water, movement, a conversation, a break from screens, a moment of quiet, a boundary, a walk, a better routine. Food can comfort us, but it cannot meet every emotional need. When we learn to recognize the difference, food begins to return to its proper place, not as the enemy, not as the savior, but as nourishment, pleasure, and part of life. Another step is slowing down. Modern life teaches people to eat quickly, at desks, in cars, in front of screens, between responsibilities, while thinking about the next task. But fast eating often disconnects us from the body. We may not notice hunger clearly. We may not notice fullness. We may not notice satisfaction. We may finish a meal and barely remember tasting it. Slowing down does not have to be complicated. It can begin with one small pause before eatings. Breath. One moment of attention. One decision to notice the first few bites. What does this taste like? How hungry am I? How does my body feel? Am I present or am I rushing? These small moments bring consciousness back into eating, and consciousness changes the experience. A person does not need to eat perfectly to eat more mindfully. They only need to become more present more often. Another important step is changing the environment. Many eating habits are shaped by what is around us. Visible snacks, large portions, constant food, QS phones, television, stressful, workspaces, late night routines, food delivery, apps, grocery aisles designed for impulse. If the environment constantly encourages unconscious eating, then willpower alone may not be enough. We need supportive surroundings. This might mean keeping certain foods out of immediate reach, preparing simple meals ahead of time, eating away from the work desk, turning off the screen for part of a meal, keeping water nearby, planning a healthier snack before the craving becomes urgent, creating a kitchen routine that supports calm instead of chaos. These changes do not need to be extreme. Small environmental changes can reduce automatic decisions. The goal is not to control everything. The goal is to make conscious choices easier, because when the environment supports awareness, food becomes less of a daily struggle. Another part of a healthier relationship with food is learning to respect the body. This sounds simple, but it is not easy for many people. Some people relate to the body with criticism. They see the body as a problem to fix, a project to control, a source of disappointment, something to punish when it does not look or behave the way they want. But the body is not an enemy. The body carries us through life. It works quietly every day. It asks for care, rest, nourishment, movement, hydration, and attention. A healthier relationship with food begins when we stop treating the body as something to fight. Food is not only about appearance, it is about energy, mood, strength, focus, digestion, sleep, daily function, long-term health. When we eat from respect, rather than punishment, our choices begin to change. Not because we hate ourselves, but because we are learning to care for ourselves. That is a very different kind of motivation. Punishment says, I must control myself because I am not acceptable. Respect says, I want to care for myself because my life matters. This is the natural midpoint of the episode. A healthier relationship with food is not built on fear. It is built on awareness, respect, balance, and honesty. Balance is important because extreme thinking often harms people's relationship with food. Some people divide food into strict categories: good or bad, clean or dirty, allowed or forbidden, success or failure. But life is more complicated than that. Food has many roles. Some food nourishes the body deeply. Some food brings pleasure. Some food connects us with culture. Some food belongs to celebration. Some food is convenient during a busy season. Some food is simply enjoyable. A healthy relationship with food does not require every choice to be perfect. It requires overall direction. It asks, does my pattern support my life? Do I feel more aware? Do I feel more balanced? Do I feel more connected to my body? Do I have freedom around food or fear? One meal does not define a person. One craving does not erase progress. One difficult day does not mean failure. What matters is the pattern we are building over time. Another important step is creating non-food ways to care for emotional needs. This is especially important if food has become the main source of comfort. We need more than one way to handle life. When stressed, we may need rest or a calmer routine. When lonely, we may need connection. When bored, we may need meaning or engagement. When tired, we may need sleep. When anxious, we may need grounding. When overwhelmed, we may need to reduce pressure. When sad, we may need compassion. Food may soften some of these feelings for a moment, but a healthier life requires a wider emotional toolkit. This could include walking, journaling, talking to a trusted person, listening to calming music, preparing a simple meal slowly, taking a break from screens, spending time outdoors, breathing for a few minutes, creating a more stable evening routine. The point is not to replace food with strict rules. Not the point is to give the self more forms of care. When life becomes richer in support, food no longer has to carry every emotional burden. Another part of healing is patience. People often want quick transformation. They want the craving gone, the habit gone, the guilt gone, the pattern gone. But eating habits are built over time. They are connected to years of routine, emotion, family patterns, culture, stress, and environment. So change also takes time. There will be days when old patterns return. There will be days when awareness comes after the choice, not before it. There will be days when stress is high and food becomes comfort again. That does not mean failure. It means the process is human. The key is to return without cruelty, to say, I notice the pattern, I can learn from this. I can choose differently next time. I do not need to punish myself to grow. This kind of patience creates stability. It makes change more sustainable because people are more likely to continue a healthy path when that path does not require self-hatred. Another important practice is gratitude, not forced positivity, not ignoring real struggles, but simple appreciation for what food is meant to be. Food is nourishment. Food is energy. Food is culture. Food is memory. Food is connection. Food is care. Food is one of the ways life continues. When we approach food only with anxiety, we lose the ability to receive it as a gift. But when we bring gratitude back, eating becomes less tense. We can prepare food with more attention, eat with more presence, enjoy without guilt, choose with more wisdom, and respect the body that receives it. This is not about becoming perfect, it is about becoming more conscious. So how do we begin today? Start small. Before one meal, pause. Ask, what do I need right now? During one meal, slow down. Notice the taste. Notice fullness. Notice the body. After one craving, ask what triggered it. After one difficult day, respond with curiosity instead of shame. Make one supportive. Change in your environment. Create one non-food comfort habit. Choose one act of care for the body. Small changes repeated consistently become a new relationship, not overnight, but over time. And over time, food can become less confusing, less heavy, less tied to guilt, less controlled by emotion, more connected to nourishment, more connected to awareness, more connected to life. So as we close this final episode, remember this: a healthier relationship with food is not about perfect eating. It is about honest eating, conscious eating, respectful eating. It is about understanding the difference between hunger and emotion. It is about noticing cravings without shame. It is about living inside a modern food environment with more awareness. It is about caring for the body without punishing the self. And it is about remembering that food is not the enemy. Food is part of being human. The real work is learning how to relate to it with more wisdom, balance, and compassion. This series began with the idea that we eat for many reasons beyond hunger, and now we can see that every food choice may carry a question. What am I really needing? Nourishment, comfort, rest, connection, relief, routine, pleasure? Awareness does not remove all struggle, but it gives us a better way to respond, and sometimes that is where freedom begins. If this series gave you something to reflect on, take a moment to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. And before you leave, ask yourself this: how can I care for myself in a way that food supports my life instead of carrying all of it?